Nascent iodine that I really like. We have it at the office, or you could order it. They might even have a Black Friday sale. Who knows? But when I see a lot of hair loss.
Oh, sweet.
So the other thing is as you were building him, probably in that last trimester where he's like really taking your mineral stores and really taking your iron. That's the hair that you're growing to right now at this age with him. And so as it's coming out here, it didn't have what it needed, so it's breaking off. So that's why you're feeling like you're losing a ton, because it wasn't strong because he was stealing all of that stuff from you in the third trimester.
I was wondering, like, it only just started like maybe 3 weeks ago, like 3 months old. I'm like, I thought this was supposed to happen like at 6 weeks.
So if that's and you know the hair here is closest to where it grows. So and I don't know what 3 months of hair growth is on you. Everyone has different, like some people's hair grows so crazy. No, Honora needs to be able to come in here, Vincent. But that's most likely what's happening to you. So you could start taking something. It's just going to help the hair that you have growing come in. It's not going to help you stop having breakage from the hair that is weak. So, and then for all my like collagen girlies, I have a few people who have had a hard time with delivery because it makes your vagina so robust. So I would just not continue collagen throughout pregnancy next time. Like I would give yourself some time off in preconception and then some time off as you're carrying from collagen so that you don't have a hard time with that. Because that is, my midwife says that, and other midwives I know will say, like, you shouldn't be taking collagen prenatally because... What?
Robust?
It's tight. So we'll see babies get stuck or the vagina won't be able to like go without help or an episiotomy. Because it's strong. Because collagen works. I mean, they have more collagen than us. It's like crazy how much collagen babies have. It's why, it's why they're so youthful. Yeah, but beautiful skin and no wrinkles and all this stuff.
I love her matching set right now.
Your children's hair also grows in phases. So you have like 4 layers of hair that come through as they age. So like the hair that, like you can kind of see it on Amaya. Amaya has like really long pieces and then she has short pieces underneath that. It's just that was her second growth of hair. So the hair gets thicker and thicker. She may not like that, Vincent. It doesn't look...
Oh, don't.
It was all her.
Hey, Vin. I don't think it's a yes from her. Yeah.
It's not a yes for me.
Well, you did it. Good.
Hey, Vin, go play or go in the Lego room. Vincent Charles Farrar. Sorry, man, girl. It was, my son gave her too much love. Vincent was loving her, and it wasn't, and she's just like, I like it, I do not like it. We're really affectionate family. All of us. Well, not Dr. Vin. Oh, yeah?
I was at the chiropractor office and I was talking to the receptionist and he saw me and Iman, but like, I don't know, I didn't think that he like saw us. And he was by the back of the door like waiting for us to finish so that he could open it for us. And I was like, I have never seen a child do that.
That's really sweet because sometimes I want to kill him, so that's really nice to hear.
That was such a sweet moment. I was like, that's it.
We talk a lot about how hard it is for moms with their hands full. And like he'll know like if daddy's at work and I have them, I'm like, remember I have 3 kids by myself. I have 1 kid by myself. Like if you see a mom, she needs help. It's all training, ladies. It's all training.
Do you want to come in?
Do you see Honora?
She's in with Vincent.
Okay. You like her? Really fast. Okay, he's gonna push her out in about 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. It's bittersweet though because then she'll crawl all over you like, you don't even need me.
All right, hello everybody. Look at this happy, huge group. Let's go, let's grow. We are talking about incorporating new rhythms into your life and how to do that successfully for baby. I just want to sidebar real quickly and say that I had this thought and I was like, I want to tell the girls on Thursday, is that like the holiday season is filled with so much magic that we're trying to do so many things. And I just want, as you guys, just to think like, all the magic that I'm creating, am I doing it at detriment to my kid? Like, is all the family parties, is all the special activities, is all this stuff, are they enjoying it? Am I doing it for me or for them? And just really measuring your child and being like, gosh, is their behavior bad? Do they seem crankier? Are they not sleeping well at night? All of those are just indicators that their nervous system is a little full. And so if you are in the middle of the holiday things, I just want to give you permission to say, we're going to go in a room, or we need to go home, or this has been really fun, but we have to go. And just to have that boundary, because they may be having fun during it, but if you start paying the price more and more often after that, like you're like, gosh, why are they sucking today? Like, well, they did a lot yesterday. And to also always plan a rest day, like a quiet day at home after you do big things. Even if you go to the zoo, right? Like the zoo is the coolest place ever, but it's a lot, especially if you did like the zoo lights, which are so cool and I totally recommend, but maybe not for this age. Like let them sleep in the carrier while you look at some cool zoo lights. But those things that you'll do, they can really set your kid up to struggle. And so I just want you guys to say, am I trying to do this? Because I did this last year with Christmas cookies. I was so committed to like everyone picking their favorite cookies and then doing these core like 6 things. And this is what I did with my sister and my mom. And it's so important to me that it got to the point that my 2 big kids were like, I'm really done like making cookies. And I was like, no, we're doing the cookies. And so I ended up making like 20 dozen cookies alone. But because I was like, my kids are just communicating with me like, this is not fun. And then I'm like, wait, I made all these cookies, but you can only have 1. And they're like, why did we make 2 million cookies? I was like, we're making all these cookies and we're giving them away. So that was just a thought that I had. And I think that we're going to make a reel about it that just says like, when you're planning all these magical moments, make sure that you're planning the restful moments on the back end for them. But that's just an aside. But I thought of you guys when I was just stewing about this. But what I like to define rhythm as a way that things happen in your life, like before, like one after the other, after the other, after the other. It's not a schedule. So scheduling can be really hard, mostly on the parent who's addicted to the schedule, which 99% of the time is mom. The baby needs to nap at this time. They need to nap for this long. If they don't nap this long, it's going to go bad. And we get hyper fixated. And all first-time moms are here. They're like, how many wake windows do I have? How long were the wake windows? How many naps? Should I be going from 4 naps to 3 naps? Should I go from 3 naps to 2 naps? Oh, I don't think we should have gone to 2 naps. I think we should go this thing. And there's like so much fixation on scheduling. And so what? Look at this guy. Dr. Vin could get there really fast for you. But so I want you to think about a rhythm as not this thing that happens, and this will serve you for the rest of your life, but things that happen after each other. So if in general your family eats breakfast between 7 and 8, and sometimes that's 7:15, and sometimes that's 8 o'clock, then you know that's your window for having breakfast. Breakfast really doesn't take more than 15, 20 minutes, right? And so we don't have to, but if we're just like, okay, and then I'm going to work from 8 to 9. Well, I would say after breakfast, instead of saying from 7 to 8 we have breakfast, if we get delayed or baby sleeps in because they had a harder night or they had teething or whatever, that it's not 8 to 9, 8 to 9 that you do the work, it's what you're doing after breakfast. And it's just like, so after nap, and that's why we always say, like here at the cottage, we're like, we want to be in your rhythm. So if you're like, and a lot of people either choose after nap to come and play with us for the day, or they play with us and then go to do nap because we're a part of their rhythm. And there are times that people will leave for their rhythm and say like, oh, well, we nap at 12, but today they seem pretty tired at 11:15, so maybe we should go nap earlier. It's not wrong if your baby goes to nap at 11:15 when it's usually 12. And you're like, oh, this is going to ruin the whole day. Well, you're just going to have everything move around. But you also want to have a child that can adapt and that like, okay, we generally sleep between 1 and 3, right? That's generally when we sleep. So, but you don't want to say like, I can't go anywhere between 1 and 3. But my child's going to be tired. So if we are driving somewhere and they're a kid that falls asleep in the car, that you're going to be nap trapped. Or if you go somewhere like, we were talking, Megan, you guys went to like a festival or some outdoor event and you were like, we could leave or she could sleep on me and then we could leave because she's not a big fan of the car. Those are things where you're like, I'm going to honor our rhythm no matter where we're at. So the biggest rhythm changes in the beginning are when you're changing your naps from like 4 naps to 3 naps to 2 naps to 1 nap. The going down to 1 nap is probably the most difficult thing on parents ever because your kid is tired at 5 p.m. but they ain't going to bed till 7. And so it's real dark and twisty in that time. The second big rhythm change that people experience is potty training. Potty training will turn your rhythm inside out because every grocery trip has to have a potty break. Every time you go somewhere, every time you go to the chiropractor, you're going to the potty. You're going before you leave the house. You're going when you get there. You're doing the thing. You're checking before you leave, and you're going into that. So it's a really big rhythm buster. But if you start to teach your kids like, okay, so when we are going somewhere and when we're leaving, we try to go potty. And instead of saying you have to go potty, the thing that I would say, really recommend is like, we're just going to sit on the potty and count to 10. And if you go, great, and if you don't, great. And so when you're thinking about rhythms and what you want to do, some of the rhythms that change for people is they get a new job and they have to leave to go to work at a certain time, or their spouse's job changes and they're coming home earlier, or they're coming home later and your bedtime rhythm has to change. And so when that happens, you always want to do everything gradually. This is like the daylight savings time thing. But you want to talk to your kid about it, and you want to give them as many anchors as you can that they're familiar with. So if there's the same song, if there's the same outfit, if there's the same transition, even if it's at a different time or with a different person, if you are doing the same bedtime routine and then you need to start switching it to dad needs to do the identical routine, right? And that's something that works really well in our house, is that in the beginning, I put the baby to sleep and he puts the big kids to sleep. And then once the baby starts to transition to sleeping, that's why we do like boobs, bath, book, bed. And then it's really easy to take boob out. But if you want to transition to night weaning and you want dad to be a part of it, and your bath, books, boob, bed, dad doesn't have boobs, right? Like he doesn't have this step. And so seeing like, okay, in the next couple of months we want to move there, you need to take that breastfeeding thing and put it in front of the rhythm and start to change it for her or him before you get to the, okay, I'm going to change this where your feeding goes, and then we're going to do bath, books, bed. And then once she's used to that or he's used to that, then take out boobs and put in dad. And you do it together, and then you do that. And that's how you successfully change your rhythm without like diabolically ruining your kid. And there's also the thing of having quiet time. So maybe you don't want your kid to nap, but you want it to be like more of a peaceful resting time. He's like, I can open this door. You want to try to figure out how you can do that in a way that they're prepared to do it. Got anything?
I feel like just getting on the same page with what the rhythms that you want to institute are with your spouse is probably the most important thing, just so everybody's on the same page and everybody's working towards the same goal. And I think not doing too much, just like doing one rhythm at a time. Like I feel like some of the best advice we've been given is like figure out in your life where you have the most chaos and figure out how a rhythm can change that chaos into calm and work on just doing that.
For a long time.
For a long time.
One of the things that we're instituting right now is that we're starting to like teach our kids they can earn money. Now for Vincent, he's 6, almost 6.5. Karen's 4.5. So at 4.5, we never did this with Vincent. But when you have a first kid and a second kid, the second kid's just kind of drug along and more advanced. And so as we're doing that, we have 5 things that they have to do before they can earn money. So there's all these different, we call them gigs. And all these different gigs that they can do to earn money. But if they haven't done the 5 you have to do's, they don't earn money from the gigs. So you could do like 10 different gigs, but if you haven't put homeschool stuff away, made your bed, made sure that your room was tidy at the end of the night, and there's something else, then you don't qualify for the money. So we rolled this out, but I said, hey, for the rest of the year, let's just focus on training in this. Training in these 5 major things, because we can't ask them to be perfect at these 5 things to earn money. So we have a grace period. And really, we're not training our children as much as we're training us. And that's some of the things that we've talked about. It's like, I don't make my bed. I don't like making my bed. Making your bed has scientifically proven to make you like a wonderful person and better at everything. And there's a whole book about it.
The book's really great. But
it's a great book, and it makes sense. And I agree. Yeah, I agree that so we're trying, but I have to train myself to make my bed because it doesn't give me life. And so when you want your kids to start doing something, like let's say you guys wanted to have your kid start putting their toys away, then having a song to sing when you're transitioning to the next thing like dinner, and that like the cleanup song that we have here at the cottage, when people start to hear the cleanup song, they're like, oh, the story's next. And when they hear that the story's next, they know that it's over. And so that's a transition that they start to learn. And so if you're like, hey, I want to start teaching these tiny humans, you're like, oh, is this really? Because Honora can put the silverware away from the dishwasher now. She's 16 months old, but because she's watched Karen and Vincent do it, she will now hand me, now it's piece by piece that she hands it to me and we put it away, but she is so jazzed to be part of like what everyone's doing that now, like today, she was handing me a spoon that had fallen on the floor and she was standing next to the silverware drawer and she was like talking in baby talk. I had no idea what she was saying. And I was like, okay, Nora, I'm trying to get everything together so that we can get here on time. And I walk away and she starts to flip out. Like I'm talking scream like somebody's cutting her leg off. And I was like, and as soon as I like hit where I was going, I was like, she wants me to put the spoon away. So I said, I'm sorry, Nora, I'll be right there. I walk back, I take the spoon, I put it away, she claps, and we're good. But so I could have chosen to ignore that or understand that we are in training season right now in our house. And Honora is seeing training. And so even if you and your spouse are training and you only have one tiny baby, you can be training them to put their toys away before dinner. Because it might be something you want. Again, it's not something that I want. I want a clean house, but I don't want to put stuff away. So we're trying to train that. And I'm the first person that needs to get trained. Because we have a messy house, because I'm like, we should just have fun and the mess can wait. And then I wait so long on the mess that we live in a dumpster. And so it's a thing. I read this thing on Instagram and it said, if you don't put 30 things away, by 5 days, that's 150 things or something that are out. Is that math right? Yeah, great. And I was like, that is our house. Our house is 150 things that aren't put away. You were sharing with Reese about how he's like obsessed with making his bed now.
Yeah, he's like really into it.
Yeah, they want to be into it.
Yeah, he makes his bed every morning, and then like we wear PJs 2 days in a row. Because why wouldn't we? Mm-hmm. So he folds those PJs too, and he makes his bed and puts them on his pillow, so he knows that like he wears those the next day. He's 6, so.
I remember, but a 4-year-old that has a 6-year-old brother is going to do that. Yeah. So Cade will do that way earlier because he'll see Reese.
We try with him.
Yeah.
He just takes everything.
Yeah.
And then we're like, we'll pick it up, we'll look in the trash, and then we'll the whole way into the trash.
Yes.
And then we'll just shove it in there.
Yep.
But then he watches us like push the trash down, so like he has to do that.
Yes.
that's part of what he sees us do, you know, because the trash is always full
Because you have kids, yeah. Yeah, I'm like, I put the trash in the trash bin. I'm like, where is this going? Everyone is doing this. Where is it going? And I just keep thinking about Wally, and I'm just like if we're flying into space, could we like put this there? Like, where is this going? All the trash cans. That's just an aside thought that I have. Every time I throw away a bag of trash, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing to my kids' world or my grandkids' world. But anyway, a tangent.
A lot of it too. I feel like we go through a lot of trash bags. I have 2 young people that live next to us, and like trash day comes out, like ours is super full, and I'm like, TJ, go check the can to see if we can throw. And they always have 1 bag, and I'm like, how?
Because they eat out.
Probably. I mean,
Truly, groceries are what make the trash full.
yeah.
And we have chickens, so we put our scraps outside, so we don't even have that in our trash. It's just food. Anyway, that was a tangent. Sorry, guys. Sorry. But I think the first rhythm change that you guys will see at the age that your kids are is transitioning to night weaning or to having someone other than you put your baby to sleep. It can happen.
Sounds like magic.
Oh, yeah.
Just last night, Alex was rocking her bed because sometimes with me, she just starts getting like aggressive, and like she'll be nursing, but she's also wrestling me, and I'm like, are you tired or what? So I'm like, I need you tonight, and he'll start to rock her, and I'm like, it's almost your time to shine.
Yeah.
Watch him rock her, like yes.
So we started night weaning in Nora when? 3 months? 4 months? And honestly, the first 2 or 3 weeks of any change is rough, guys. Like, there were times I just went in and took her because she was past like fussing. She was like distraught because you don't want it to be traumatic. Like, we're not traumatic people. We're not cried out people. If that's you, boo, do you. No hate. But once we got through those first couple weeks of it being hard, honestly, we've had maybe 15 terrible nights, and 2 or 3 of them were because she got her molars. And we didn't really know until I tickled her a couple days, and I was like, oh, you have molars. And then we were like, oh, that's why you were horrible. Like, but I'm sleeping great on my sleep tracker, and his sleep tracker is like, what is going on, man? Are you okay? And again, like we talked about that one week, men can handle that better than women. But having that conversation with your partner that the baby will probably sleep better, that you will sleep better, so you'll be nicer and more, excited for all of the activities they'd like to plan, your husbands.
What do you do when you guys co-sleep, right? We co-sleep. But like he can't get comfortable like half the time. So like sometimes I'll like go put him in his crib and then he'll chill in there for 30 minutes and then like it's like he had like the moment to stretch out and he won't cry or anything. But then all of a sudden 30 minutes later he's like, wait, I'm alone. Then I go get him and then I bring him back.
Is the crib in your room?
No.
So what I would think of doing is putting a bed in your room, like a floor bed, like taking his crib mattress and putting it on the floor.
Because he opens doors. We have 2 stories. He's clever. And he climbs shit.
Well, could you put a gate?
Yeah, we have a gate.
But he climbs the gate?
He climbs everything.
You got to put those bird things on top of the gate, the spiky things. JK.
My mother-in-law used to do for the cat. She would do like tinfoil rods on top of it, and the noise would startle them.
That's wild.
My biggest fear is like waking up in the middle of the night because he's decided to climb over the gate and like tumble down the stairs.
I think for sleep-wise, I would just consider double gating. Like I would get 2 gates. Like they have those gates that are just tension rods. And I would just put one on top of the other. So even if he climbed it, he couldn't get out. But if your goal is to get him to sleep through the night, the other couple things that I would try is I would give him a lot of fat at bedtime. Like I'm talking chunks of butter, peanut butter. I would load him up in fat. The thing that it sounds like is happening with him, because this happened with my son for a very long time, is that he would start squirming when he needs to pee. And so I don't know. Yeah. he may be like not wanting to pee his pants because he doesn't want to sleep in it. And so he's doing this thing. And then he's like, F it, I'll pee. And then goes back to sleep, which is what he might do in that 30 minutes. And then he's like, where's my mom?
Yeah, he's so restless.
That's Vincent was restless. And when we started potty training, I realized it was him needing to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he potty trained early. Like, he comes in there and, like, watches me pee, and then he grabs toilet paper and tries to shove it between the legs.
Yes.
And, like,
Yes.
he's really interested.
Honora, when Karen goes to the bathroom, Honora wants to take her clothes off and sit on the potty too. So they are working on it. Do you see it? Oh, there she is. It's look, Megan, it's okay.
I've just never seen her do that.
Oh, she did that before she could walk.
Really?
She climbed to the top of it.
So high up. That's amazing. Fearless.
She really is.
That's my only complaint with Kate is just his squirming in the middle of the night.
Also, I would guess it's not. I would really try loading him up on fat. He might sleep deeper. When we give Honora, whoever I have as a child that's little, when I give her a lot of butter at bedtime, she sleeps great. How did she sleep last night? Not great? Real bad? I mean, she had two sad. It was 2 sad episodes. What'd your watch say?
I didn't have it on.
Oh.
It's so funny because anytime that I feel like I got good sleep, TJ's always like,
Our worst night.
what are you talking about? I was like, oh,
That's rough.
was it?
Gosh, I gave her so much butter last night too.
That's too funny.
But
He's also been waking up earlier, so he's been crankier.
usually fat helps a lot, right? You would say
Well,
that.
yeah, but that's not what she said. She was just like squirming at the beginning of sleep, not sleeping long enough. But yes, fat does help make them sleep longer for sure.
And deeper.
When you had first talked about the night weaning transition, I for some reason thought you said for 3 nights in a row. Like, Dad, is there something about like 3 nights? Am I tripping?
You're tripping.
Okay.
No, it starts and it never
3
goes
weeks,
back.
3 months.
3 months, 3 weeks.
So I thought it was like three nights of something specific, and then I'm not sure.
I don't.
Maybe. Yeah,
It took us like 2 months.
I feel like we do. I wouldn't say 3 nights, but it's just like I feel like we tend to start more with food when she wakes up, and then transition to water with time.
Yeah, because it's pouches in the beginning for us.
If I ever had pouches, would I introduce it for that, or should I?
I mean, this is just our way. It's not in a book.
Yeah, I think it's just
An
the
easy, fast-
easiest thing for us just to have in the bedroom that doesn't make a mess. I'm sure there's other options, or you could just not worry about any of that stuff and just. I mean, you could. There's a mom that we take care of that she gives her baby like an avocado coconut
Butter
like,
smoothie
thing. So you could like theoretically put that in like a bottle or something. So it's all contained in there. Essentially your homemade pouch. But I feel like that's
you
the
need
easiest.
nutrition because the thing they're used to getting is food, fat specifically. That's like what the nighttime breast milk is.
Yeah.
And then, well, we give her water too.
Yeah, that's to some kind of food.
Because you also, the thing with teeth is that you don't want food to sit on their teeth. So the pouch and then the water is a really great idea because it'll help clean their mouth.
You just make sure Nora is good. Vincent.
Vincent, can you find Nora?
Vincent, I asked you to go check on Nora.
Is she stuck in a room?
Yeah, Jules getting her.
Oh, she's almost 11 months.
Yeah.
I go through so many of those. Like, I make them and I buy the farm, whatever those things are.
Yeah, Once Upon a Farm.
Expensive.
Yeah. They're so expensive. We have those at the grocery store. I'm like, all right, we're at the grocery store. Here's the fancy pouch.
You have to give them to Nora when you're there too?
Yes.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Otherwise he's a psycho.
Yeah.
And then people are like, he's so cute, and he's like screaming, and I'm like,
You're like, this is our third Once Upon a Farm pouch. Like, I never feed you.
and we're down to 3.
Yeah.
It's $8 worth of
Right.
pouches.
Yeah.
We go through like 7 boxes a week.
Honora shut herself in a room. It's her new favorite activity. She goes in the bathroom, closes the door. Yeah. Goes in our room, closes the door. She went into a room and closed the door.
And then if you open it, does she get mad too?
Yeah.
Or shuts back?
Yeah. But they're screaming. I was like, I don't know what to do with you. You want to be alone, but you don't want to be alone.
Okay. You want to be wanted.
Vincent, chill out.
I think she wants to crawl.
Vincent, let her crawl, dude.
She wants to move. Movement is how her brain grows, my dude. Let her go. She has no core strength. She's like a turtle. She's stuck. She's like, I want to get away from this 6-year-old. That's literally what she looked like to me, especially with the brown thing underneath, like it was a giant shell. Right?
Stay away from her.
Right. Do you see Kate?
You very well may have done that as well.
Dr. Vincent.
I feel like we don't have any. Every day is different.
I would.
Henry's world is living in it. Like, he naps when he wants to nap.
That's
He goes
great.
to bed when he wants to go to bed. Sometimes he falls asleep eating. Sometimes he falls asleep when husband's left. Sometimes it's at 7 o'clock. Sometimes it's at 11 o'clock.
And he's 4 months? 5 months? 3 months. Gosh, that's a big boy.
Like, okay, he's 3 months old. Like, I don't have to start doing
So-
this, but it sounds like maybe the earlier.
I don't advise anything until after the 4-month sleep change, which I will not call a regression, guys. It is an up-leveling of the brain. It is a change. You are not ready. The baby is ready. But at 4 months, they go through a huge leap in development in their brain. And the great sleeping baby that you have disappears, and a small gremlin child appears. And it's, yeah. I will say 1 in every 150 moms has an easy 4-month sleep change. It could be you. You have set yourself up with a nurturing environment where it won't be super difficult. But there's a change at 4 months and there's a change at 8 months. And so a lot of people success.
Sleep as long, or what is
Oh yeah, girl. They're miserable. They don't sleep very long. They may only sleep 45 minutes at a time. They cluster feed. They wake up more often. So right now at 3 months, usually you'll be like, wow, we got a 6-hour stretch or 4-hour stretch. Those are gone. Gone. It is the worst thing ever. But it's the greatest thing ever because your baby starts to giggle and laugh and they start to get ready. You can start to see them trying to sit up and move their body more, and their tummy time is great, and they are rolling, and it's just all of these up level things. And then you get through that 4 to 8 month, and at 6 months they start to crawl and they start to sit up, and you start to do food, and everything's great, and you finally figured out how they actually want to sleep. And then 8 months comes, and we have another huge level up. And that's the last level up. So I always tell people, if you guys want to gently sleep train, or you want to have a schedule with your kid, you will have a very predictable, solid schedule after 8 months old. But everything you know up until 4 months is a sham. It's a lie, and it will never return. And literally never return. It really feels like it. Now, there are people whose kids sleep through the night, and God bless them, and they're unicorn babies. But the majority of kids wake up. Especially breastfed kids, and people will be like, that's because they're hungry. They're not hungry, they're just very connected to their mother, and so they actually crave connection more than food. We talked about that one time with you, because she was like, I don't think she wants to eat, I think she just wants me. And I'm like, yeah, because you regulate her. You regulate him. And so the best rhythm that you could do is as you go to bed. That's where I would start. I would just have a song, a smell, a thing that happens that leads them up to understanding, okay, this is what's going to happen next. A lot of kids, even as early as 4 months old, can have a sleep sack put on them, the same one, and they feel that zip, and they are like, oh, I'm going to bed. Because they get cues from you, just like you get cues from them. You're like, oh, you're not hungry, your butt's dirty. Or your butt's not dirty, you're just tired. And so you start to read their cues, they also read your cues. And so I would, where you're at, start some sort of sleep routine that also includes your husband, so that he starts to learn the cascade.
And I feel like we do a bath, we do jammies, and then a book, and I do them usually somewhere sometimes he goes to bed right away, and then sometimes it's like 2 hours later. I'm like, well, so much for that routine, because I feel like he's not even associating with sleep because he went and played for another like hour after. So I guess just keep doing it.
I would keep doing it, but also I would just, and I don't think you need to do it in an app or anything, but just kind of be cognizant. Was his nap later on the days that it was that, and should I kick the bed routine back an hour because I know he slept later? Because
never even like put that.
yes, yeah, but he is associating it. Like you have to do things 200 times with a kid for them to learn it, unless you do it in play, and then you only need to do it 12 times for them to learn it. That's why this place is truly so magical. We called it the Enchanted Cottage for a reason. But if they do things here while playing, walking, crawling, so I have some people whose kids skipped crawling and they really want to go back and fix that. If you get a tunnel and you put your baby on one side of the tunnel and you're on the other side and you get them to crawl through there, that's play. They will learn to crawl faster than if you just are like, all right, go, because you're playing with them. I will also give you a hint if you really want your baby to crawl. We did this live with Evelyn. Just put your cell phone on the floor. Yes. Just put your cell phone on the floor, hit video, have it with them. They will go for it so hard and so fast. You have never, because they see that you love your cell phone as much as you don't want to admit that. And so they're like, I need to have that thing. But
And she just loves seeing herself.
yeah, they love to see themselves. They love to see a baby.
I'm making a scrapbook, and I took a screenshot from that video to put in there.
Oh, that's so fun.
I was like trying to incorporate some of the main milestones, and she's in this little pink room, and I like just took a screenshot, so that's in there.
That's cool.
I also want to say, because you didn't even to us about the routine at night and how like they'll know what's happening, they'll get sleepy or tired, or like they know that sleep is coming.
They get drowsy.
And that really like clicked for me, and so we developed a sleep routine similar to that. It's just very simple. When he hears the water, like he'll be fussy, and he hears me like turn on the bath, and he just like calms because he knows like what's coming, and like that has been like really nice, like this consistency. So I just want +1 that, like it's very useful.
It's a wind down thing, and it's something that even adults need. Like it's a rhythm that people are like, I'm a terrible sleeper, and I'm like, what do you do before bed? They're like, watch TV, look at my phone, have a snack of sugar, and then I try to lay down and I can't go to bed at night. And I'm like, shocker. I was like, do you look at your phone while you eat dinner? And they're like, yeah, why? And I was like, cool. So as soon as the sun sets, the other thing that you can do that will be very helpful for your children is to change your bulbs in your house to full spectrum or amber or red light bulbs. And so instead of using your overhead lights after the sun goes down, which is very early these days, all the light that is in your house is red light, because really the only thing that should be on after the sun goes down is fire. So candles, fireplace, that's literally does good stuff for you. But we have bright blue LED lights that mimic 8 a.m. sunshine. And so even if you're looking at your phone while nursing at 2 o'clock in the morning, there is a thing called a color filter that you can put on your iPhone. Android people, sorry, I don't know how to help you, but I'm sure someone else does. And you can make your screen red. And you can, yeah.
Finally did it, and I'm like, oh, my eyes.
Your eyes feel, mine is red all day long. I never have it be blue light because I'm just like, I know I have an addiction to this thing. I'm just going to turn it down. But my husband can't stand it because I'm like, look at how beautiful this is. He's like, that's not even the color it is. And I'm like, but it's still beautiful. I mean, I bought.
That we got done.
Yes, exactly. He's like, Bridget, it's not. And I was like, I don't even see it anymore. But I bought curtains. He's like, you bought curtains with your filter on? And they came. He's like, they look great. I'm like, I know. These are my eyes now. But having morning sunlight is really important, that circadian rhythm. So if you also feel like your child is sleeping too late, waking them up and literally taking them straight outside to get the sun on their retinas is huge, because that changes the chemicals that the brain makes to get them to wake up. So when you're transitioning, you want to be able to use light in your favor. But TVs and cell phones are horrible. And there's really not a warm setting on a TV that I've heard of Maybe.
I've tried turning mine to the dark as it is, and I turn on like, oh god, it's still so bright.
Yeah.
I've tried my best.
Come on in, Mom. Yeah.
So like speaking of morning things too, so I started going back to work and I get up at like 4:30.
Gross.
And then he's up because the first couple shifts like he would like go back. I keep him to go back to sleep and it's great. But recently he's like, okay, I'm up, and I don't know if it's like my milk has like the opposite of melatonin, and then so now my husband has to get up, and then he gets super cranky because he like needs his sleep and I don't need to sleep. So I'm fine, and he's like grumble all day. He was up with me and the baby.
Then he needs to figure out how to take a nap.
Thank you.
Yes, actually,
Her husband needs to learn how to take a nap.
I have a bassinet.
And I'm like, and I talked to her, I was like, what is he talking to me? Like, yeah, like, I didn't like it when my kids would nap because then they'd be up on the flight or something. So she like really ingrained it in my brain not to nap.
Then he can have quiet time.
Yeah.
He should take 2 hours of quiet time in the afternoon if it's in his schedule and just chill because you're getting up at 4:30.
Go for a drive.
Listen, if they want us to work, if work is it and this is what is doing it, I'm just like, this is a part of the cost of me going to work. That's literally what I would say. I have no sympathy for that. Just late. I mean, he doesn't have to sleep. He can rest. But like, stop being a jerk. You're grumpy. Yeah. And take his phone. Have him read a book. Be like, here's the Bible or a textbook. You'll be asleep in under 3 minutes flat.
But now that like I'm gone, he's up like so Jonathan within 30 minutes of us being on the bed. He's like, wait a second, like, and now he's starting like CDC debriefing. It probably has a lot to do with just being and like 20 pages. He read that. He was like, and how do you feel? Like, I have a lot of questions. Do you think Dr. Vin would be upset if I brought it up on Saturday?
No, Dr. Vin would not. Dr. Vin is terrified of who is going to be there and if he's going to have to talk. He's not. He,
Saturday, you gotta like be super interested. You told me already.
So Jonathan might have a ton of questions.
that's great. Just Dr. Vin loves to answer a question. He does not love small talk. But you know, be like, how are the kids? Like he's like let's not talk. But if you were like, what do you think about this thing the CDC said? He'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
He'll smile his awkward smile and then he'll get into it. I mean,
It's like really strong.
it's very strong.
Sitting next to him, and like I think it's either the warm body that's missing, or and then like he's not smelling you.
Are you cuddling? Is he cuddling up with your husband when you leave, or are you just putting him?
We have our bassinet room, and he always like starts on the bassinet and ends up in our bed. And sometimes I was just saying, I put him in the bassinet in the middle of the night and he sleeps fine. But sometimes I leave him in there because my husband is very uncomfortable when he sleeps. So he doesn't like him in the bed.
Then he's going to get up at 4:30. I mean, this sounds like a him problem. He needs to take a nap. But also, I think, again, with the decision that your family's made to have you go back to work, like if that's your decision, then there's a cost that is associated with that. And that cost is he's waking up at 4:30 and that your husband doesn't want to lay back down and cuddle with him. That's his choice. Those are two choices that he is a part of making. And so he just needs to get up and he should take a nap. That is my Oh no. Is Nora up in there? Okay, good. Just want to make sure. Okay, we have all of these playground.
And so I'm like, okay, here's some toys. I know she's awake, but I'll still do the full bedtime routine. Only have the night lights on. That way, if I know she wants to play, I just want to take her like back out and like let her play. You know, that way like I'm like whatever. She's gonna want to play for probably 20, 30 minutes, and I just sit there with her, read a book. Yeah, but all the lights are down, and she has like just a couple little toys, and we're in bed. But then I'll like stand up and rock her or whatever when I can still.
So I have two real pieces of advice now that I'm mad at your husband. So I would find something that you wear a lot that truly stinks like you know how your body odor is so much more after you have a baby. It's literally because where is their face? Right in your pity. That's what their pheromones are for them. So you stink because you are admitting love smells for them. Okay, so their little head should smell like your armpit because they're so up in there. But I would get some pretty stinky thing that you've worn multiple days, and I would put that with him when you leave. So like the shirt you slept in, or maybe you don't sleep in a shirt, or something that you wear all the time that is not clean, and I would lay that with him in the bassinet. That's one thing I would do. He might be cold.
That's kind of what we were thinking.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm always sweating all the time. Surely he can't be cold.
He might be cold when you leave, though.
Yeah.
So the other thing I would do is I would get like a rice bag or a corn bag, you know, one of those things that you like throw in the microwave and nuke and get it warm. I would put that in the thing that smells like you and put that with him in the bassinet and see if that works.
You know, my husband's like, he can't have anything in the bassinet. He's gonna choke. He's like, and I say, he says that out of a place of love. Put it underneath.
But again, it sounds like he has the problems. Like these are all him problems. So I don't feel bad for him getting up at 4:30 if he doesn't want any of the solutions. Yeah.
And that way it's there, it's warm, it smells like you, but you can't touch it, you can't roll underneath it.
Would he go in like a DockATot in the bed with him? Like would he feel safe about that?
He's afraid. He's a heavy sleep. Like he doesn't wake up when he's crying in the morning. So, like I think he's afraid he's gonna like.
But he would. I'll tell you this. My husband slept through a fire alarm at a hotel. Karen and him completely unconscious. Me and Vincent up. I could have left them in the room and they wouldn't have woken up, my husband and Karen. So this is who they are, that they have that together. He has never rolled on the baby. He has never, when they realize that they're in charge, like when you leave, he's gonna be at a lighter sleep. He's not gonna go to the same deep sleep he does because he's deeply sleeping because he knows you have it.
Yeah.
As soon as he has it, as soon as it's given to him, he will not sleep like that. So like, I have a picture of Vin sleeping with all three of our kids, and he's sleeping, and the babies, like, they're on their, like, belly on here, and their little head is poking out. It's so cute. And they're out, and they sleep like that all night long. And and my husband sleeps like a WWE wrestler. Like, I'm telling you, when he moves, he lifts his whole body up and slams it down. Like, it is an intense experience. Like the fact that my children sleep with him, they're being trained to sleep like while they're being driven in a truck over a bumpy road. Like he moves. He has never rolled over. But with our first kid, I was so paranoid. I was like, you're going to kill the baby. I'd like push him. I'd be like, you're going to kill the baby because Vincent was in a DockATot between us in the beginning. I think the DockATot, yeah.
I love the DockATot because I'm a heavy sleeper as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he wouldn't let me sleep if I didn't roll. He's a fighter.
I just think
Yeah.
he's like feisty. Like
He's gonna scream.
I'm not worried about him. He's like so concerned and just hurt. Like, I didn't help because unfortunately where I work, I see co-sleeping deaths, and I've always told him about that. So he thinks like everyone who co-sleeps is gonna kill their baby. So we started doing it.
Yeah.
I think also like, because I listened to you, I got deep into co-sleeping trenches because like I wanted to know all the data points, like
Go pick 'em up.
and stuff like that. Go pick them up. Something that I was told is like when you see a heavy sleeper that you roll up the bed and fall to the floor. Pick it up. Like why is it that if you don't fall to the floor when you're on a deep sleeper, like how is it that like you want to go? So I think it's like it would help my husband when it comes. Like, you never fall off the bed.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's not.
But also co-sleeping deaths happen with people who are under the influence like 99% of the time. The other co-sleeping deaths that I've seen are people with super soft beds. So they have like a memory foam topper or something, and it's when the baby is small enough that they can't turn their head and get out of that. So the age that he is and his movement of his head, you have left the super dangerous co-sleeping time. Truly. Because, oh buddy. But if he can't breathe, he'll move. And if he can't breathe, he'll cry. And if he, like, it's there, yeah, they squirm, they will move. So like, but my son would only sleep once he pulled the blanket up to cover his mouth and nose. So you're like, you're gonna die. This is my first baby. I'm like, you're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die. And he like literally wouldn't sleep until he also would sleep with his face straight into the sheet. So like he is like this. And I'm like, honey, he's gonna die. I mean, it's your first kid, so you're a psychopath, right? You're always a psychopath with your first kid. And so I was like this, and then I realized like he just wants to sleep with pressure on his face. And so once he had the pressure on his face, and then I learned this fun fact that babies' nostrils are more oriented to the side, so that when your boob is on them, they don't suffocate. Because a boob here would suffocate you right now, but because their nose is this way, they can breathe. So, yeah. So, but Tom. And then there's so many people with big breasts that like feel like their breast is gonna suffocate their baby, and I was like, no, bro, you're good.
That's like after midwife, he was first born. Like, I feel like he's not breathing because my boob's on his.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's literally built.
Yeah. It's. So I think some of the things would be to talk to him about like that we've passed the really like co-sleep danger window. I would offer him the DocaTot. If he won't let you put like a stinky thing you wear, then I would truly like get a DocaTot cover and like stick it up in your business for a whole day. Like just anytime you're sitting or you sleep on it, and like literally get it to smell like you, and then have that be the cover that's put on the day that you need to go to work. Like I would literally work on it all week and then before your shift. And then the other thing is like to have a bottle ready and warm, like as soon as you leave, like, and just be like, all right, here you go. And just have him stay in the dark room, rocking him while you're getting ready for work or whatever. And then you go out and make this warm bottle, hand it to him. And if he doesn't get out into the bathroom where you're getting ready or all that stuff, then your husband may be able to get him back to sleep, but he has to get him back to sleep. You can't get him back to sleep. This is his job now. And that I think is the hardest transition for a lot of dads, is taking on like, well, you were doing this, but you have had a rhythm change. This is a rhythm change. And so it sounds like you are in the season where you are figuring out what your husband and son's rhythm are going to be together. And if you explain it to him like that, he might be like, oh, that makes sense. Like if they were like all of a sudden, like your lunch break is 2 hours later at work, he'd be like, what? But I have this and I do these things and I always work out. And if I work out, I can't go and work out at 2 because there isn't a class, or I like to get this food and it will be delivered because other people get, and like all these different things. And you're like, but you adapt. As a baby, he's very adaptable, but he has to be trained. And it sounds like your husband and him have to just figure out their thing. And if he has a lot of hard rules, then those hard rules are going to make it harder for him. And and I would just tell him like, hey, I went to this talk, we talked about it, they gave us all these ideas, but ultimately, babe, it's up to you and him. And so I can offer you advice, or you can figure it out. What would you like? And then if he says, I would like advice, then you're ready to walk in. But I think a thing that happens with us moms is that we come in and we nag. And we are like, well, this is what the baby likes, and we don't. And this was very hard for me and my husband's marriage in every way, in our business, in our home, in every way. Like, this has been the number one thing that I've learned, is that he is not me, and his relationship with our children will not be the relationship that I have with our children, that I am born to nurture and he is born to coach, and I cannot ask him to nurture in a way that is me. But he can figure out his way. And that's why I would say, like, hey, we're having this rhythm change. I know we're struggling. Do you want to like problem solve this together? I went to a talk and he was like, no, I'll figure it out. Like, okay. But then when he comes back and he starts complaining about it, you'd be like, do you want advice or do you just want to complain? And he'll be like, because like you can be grumpy about a choice you're making, but if you're choosing not to do the 17 options I gave you to try and make this easier, then shut up. And that, again, that's a big conversation my husband and I have had, but he's also had to like clap back at me and be like, I'm not a woman. Like, I cannot do this. And that's why I was like, if you want men to take over bedtime, you have to remove the boob from sleep. It has to come to this part of it. And the two of you transition to bedtime, and then you slowly leave.
So right now, like, when it's kind of like the end of dinner, and we're kind of moving towards the bedroom, and I know she's getting tired, because right now I do totally just nurse her to sleep. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I try not to. It just is what it is. So if I was going to feed her, like, before we did that, I feel like she would just immediately start getting tired. So then do I just not let her go all the way to sleep?
So just because we've talked about this for multiple weeks, it doesn't sound like Evelyn goes right to sleep when you start nursing her. It sounds like she puts up a fight.
No, that's only sometimes. It's like...
But at bedtime, is she like right out, like 5 minutes of nursing?
Within like 5-10 minutes, yeah.
So I would get a bottle, and I would put milk in the bottle, and I would give the bottle to Alex.
Okay. But it has to be my breast milk, right?
Yeah. I mean, I have never pumped. I have never had enough milk to pump.
I can pump like a little bit, but I need to start like drinking some tea, building into my routine.
So I think what I would do is I would start putting nursing in front of your dinner. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do. Well, she just comes in the shower real quick most of the time. Yeah, that's kind of been my routine.
But see, but Alex can't shower with her the same way you can. So I would remove yourself from it and put her in the bath so that that she is bathing.
So he's doing it.
He's doing it all. But here's what I'll say. If you are going to have a second kid, he has to do it all.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a time, and this is the thing, it's just like, we're training, babe, for round 2. And some of this at 3 months is like, their nuts just shrivel right up, and they're like, what? They're like, no, there's not going to be, we just had one, right? But where you are at, you're like, okay, it's not tomorrow, but it's in the future. It's, it's probably within a year or so. And so we need to get you and the baby trained together, because when I have another baby, as you can see, you've now seen what goes down. I ain't going to be here to help you, bro. So do you want to mess up while I'm here and like figure out this kid? And then you will. And Karen, my second child, was the easiest kid to put to bed. She would rather have my husband than me every night. So we got to put boobs in front of bath so easy, whereas I was my son's pacifier. I was his whatever, lovey, his blanket, like what everyone like says, like my kid has never attached to anything. My son still. He keeps like he's like, I want a stuffy. And then he doesn't take care of him. Like, you're not a stuffy guy, bro. You don't like stuffies. You like me. Because he's like, hey mom, do you want to snuggle? And I'm like, yes, I do. My almost 7-year-old son. Yes, I do. But Karen, on the other hand, is like, where's daddy? Now it could be a girl thing, but also because Vincent was so hard, he was really hard. She was my husband's baby. So he isn't the most nurturing dude in the world, but he is more nurturing as he's learned through this in a masculine way. Carly, I just want you to know I'm also going to help you clean up. Yeah. It's going to be a whole thing. So is it time to do story right now?
She has knitting stuff on the ground. Is that your knitting stuff?
No, that's hers. That's the girl with the blue jumpsuit. The baby with the blue jumpsuit.
Oh, it's Jordan's. She's cool. All right, so is it cleanup time, everybody? Is that where we're at? All right, time, everybody. It's cleanup time, everyone. If I help you and you help me, we'll get the whole job done. It's cleanup time, everybody. It is epic. I love it.
I tried to make it extra strong.
The best to be their best. We thank them for their fun. It's cleanup